Well, hello viewers watching us all over the world. I'd like to welcome you to another episode on Fixing Nigeria. Well, my name is Anu Ojo, and it's always a pleasure to be on your screens every Friday evening, 7 p.m. Ukrainian time. Well, if you are watching us for the very first time, I would like to welcome you specially. This is Fixing Nigeria, and it is that special show on Dr. Sunday Adelaja's platform that is devoted to Nigeria, but not just talking about the problems of Nigeria as many people do, or complain about the issues and the challenges that Nigeria is facing as a nation. Well, that's not what we do on this platform. We are more solution oriented. We are more about fixing Nigeria. And if you've been following this episode, you would know that we're not just talking about fixing Nigeria. Actually, we've gone even steps further to talking about replacing Nigeria. So if you're Nigerian and you're watching us, I want to say in my own tongue, ekabo sorieto, which means you're welcome to today's show. Please, I would like to encourage you to kindly share this video, share this link if you're watching us on Facebook or you're watching on YouTube. You could share this link to every Nigerian that you know. It might be that they are in diaspora or they're in our motherland there in Nigeria. You could share this video link. And if you are not a Nigerian, I want you to know that you're not left out. If you're African or American or European, the things that we're discussing, though specific to Nigeria, the principles that we would be sharing, the values we will be sharing on this platform would definitely be of great benefit to you in your nation and in your country. So you're welcome. It's good to have you around in Fixing Nigeria. I would like to talk about the book you can see on your screen. And if you are an African, now this is not just Nigeria, all right? But if you are African, you want to get this book. You want to get this book. This book is titled How Every African Nation Can Become a First World Nation. I'll repeat that title. How Every African Nation Can Become a First World Nation. Now, you know the reality that African nations right now are termed third world nations. But this book written by Dr. Sunday Adelaja, it details how every African nation can become a first world nation. And some of the things that were discussed in this book is what we'll be sharing today in today's program. Well, today, as you can see, the title is Why We Must Get Rid of the African Time. The African Time Syndrome in Nigeria. Why we must get rid of that. But before we get into the conversation, before I introduce Dr. Sunday Adelaja, I would like us to watch the previous episode on Fixing Nigeria to help those who missed out on it to just have a taste of what we discussed last week. And if you would like to watch the full episode, you could go to Dr. Sunday Adelaja on YouTube. That is his channel. Search for Fixing Nigeria and you would see this video there. So let's have previously on Fixing Nigeria. Over to you, sir.
Yes, talking about the formula, I will just show you one picture or one slide, just one diagram. We came up with this, and this is what we use here in Ukraine. But this is not the explanation. If you want the explanation, you could go for the video. I've done a training, HMT, where I describe how this works, but I'm just giving you something to think about of the formula right here.
Sorry? Something pictorial.
Yes, the formula, the algorithm. Can we see the picture? Can you show it fully? Okay. So this is talking about the system here. System of raising people from the streets to national leaders. This is what we have done in Ukraine, and that's what you have seen with your own eyes. on the stage. You see the pyramid, it's like a pyramid. But this pyramid or mountain is built on stages and levels, right? So the first one you see is the quarantine level. Then you have the dormitory level. Then you have the adaptation level. Then you have the service level. Then you have the coordinator level. Then you have the adaptation apartment coordinator level. Then you have the head of faculties level. Then you had the head of center level, pastoral level, businessman level, professional. We just put pastor there, but it could be a professional. So what does this mean? What would this mean to a Nigerian? So let's assume that I get to Nigeria today. I'm just going to go after hopeless people. You see, what Nigerians do is that they go and do crusades or posters. They put posters out in the street that come to the crusade or come to whatever, our meeting, our church. You are going to swim in the Bethesda, pool of Bethesda, and then something will happen to you. No, we are not going to walk like that. Those are just, for the fools, stories for the fools. But what we are going to do is very similar. We're going to announce to the people and tell them, are you hopeless? Do you need any help? Or are you jobless? Or you are unemployed? Or you've lost your job? Or you don't have a place to live? Any problem you have, come. So when they come, you see the quarantine level, that's the beginning level, the bottom stage level, they will register. That's when we register them. So the first thing they will do is that they go through registration, biometric registration. Then we get documents for them, we clean them up, cut their hair, change their suits, give them the basic they need for life, some pocket money, something, and then hand them over to their leader. So in one center, in this place, because of the laws and the regulations, you can only have 10 people and then 2 leaders over them. So, but what we do in Nigeria, what I plan to do is to have a center with 100 people and 10 leaders. And I want to have 10,000 of such homes in every state. So you multiply 10,000 by 100. That 10 million?
No, that's already a million.
A million or 10 million?
I think a million.
A million. So we're going to have at least 1 million people. Just every time, like we are talking right now in Ukraine, we have 2,000 people every day going through the system, every day. And I'm sitting here talking to you, I'm not even involved. Because I've already trained people that are in charge of this pyramid that you are saying. So I'm going to do the same thing in Nigeria. We are going to be having at the same time, I might be in America, I might be at the same time, 1 million people being turned into millionaires, being turned into social activists, being turned into politicians, being turned into professionals with the new renewed mindset. But this is not even with the system of, this is just ordinarily, if I just come by myself today, not replacement system. This is just addressing those kind of people you have just shown me now. Yeah. So those hopeless children, thugs in the street, this is a system that will fix them. It will replace their mindset. Just like with these people, they open their mouth and they are telling you, I was in the prison, I was a drug addict, I was this, I was that. Something has been replaced in them. We replaced their mindset and they became somebody else. And this is a system to do it. So, but then when we are going to take but our plan is to take the whole country through a funnel like that or a tunnel like that and replace the mindset of everybody in the country. So I can keep on going till the end of it, but this is a system that we use and we work with to create new people. One of them. We have several other systems for different things.
And this system by itself can transform 1 million, like you said, and even more.
Well, 10 million, 100 million if you want.
Because there's a system already.
It's just like saying, okay, when you go to school,
yes.
When they take you to primary school in any country in the world, Nigeria, Africa, Europe, will you learn, before you finish that primary school, primary 1 to 6, will you have learned to read or not?
Of course.
When they take you and they say you graduated from secondary school, they take you from secondary school and they put you in medical school. If you have gone through the process and you have passed and you graduate through secondary school, do you become doctor or not?
Of course.
Before then, you might not even have known anything about it. When they put you like that and put you in it's called systems. It is a system that produces lawyers, same system that produces engineers, same system that produces. If you just go through the system, by the time you come out, you will not even know by the time you discover that you are already the person, the program is programming. I'm sure I am living in a fantasy world.
Because
I am living in a fantasy world. I'm not denying that.
And that's part of what we want to discuss today. We understand that fantasy is not necessarily reality.
Fantasy is not reality, yes.
Yes. So, are you sure you're not selling fantasy and some unrealistic goals or vision to Nigerians?
I am living in a fantasy world, but I'm not selling unrealistic goals, vision, and aspiration to Nigerians. What I am selling to them, to me, is very realistic. Because everything that you see today used to be in a fantasy world. When you think about electricity, 100% electricity in every city, every town, in the whole country, 100% electricity, it used to be a fantasy in the mind of most of people in the world. When you think about planes flying and taking people from one destination to the other, it used to be like a fantasy. But that fantasy was in the mind of some people. When you think of getting people to live a worthy lifestyle with per capita income of $40,000 per every citizen, it used to be a fantasy. And it was a fantasy world in the life of in the mind of some people. So everything you are seeing, the fact that even I am sitting down here in Ukraine and I'm talking, people are watching me in Africa, in Europe, in all over the world, America, everywhere. It used to be fantasy in the mind of most people in the world, but it was that fantasy lived as reality in the mind of other people. So yes, I believe that. I don't doubt. And I will not argue with people who believe that I'm living in a fantasy world in regards to my dream and my passion and my vision for Nigeria. And thank God, this is not just my vision. It is the vision of a whole team of people that we have come together to dream this and to believe this. And it has become a reality in our own lives. Yes, it is still a fantasy in the life of most people, and most Nigerians are going to have a lot of arguments why this will not work. But let them have it. We need them. We need their doubts. We need their doubts. We need their skepticism. We need their pessimisms. We need all the challenges they have. We need their criticisms. We need them to challenge us. We need them to bring out reasons why this thing will not work. The more we have some objections and oppositions to this dream, the more we are going to have to explain, and the more we explain, the more we have to explain, the more we are going to be able to solve other things and other obstacles and hurdles that we might not be saying, that other people are saying. So let them raise them up, let them bring them up, let them bring those obstacles and hurdles, and we are going to address them, and we're going to find ways to be able to resolve those obstacles and hurdles. But yes, it is, everything starts out in the fantasy world. It is normal for us to live from a fantasy world, but the problem is if we don't convert that fantasy world to a physical reality. But I am an expert. If there's anybody that teaches on conversion in this world, I'm one of them. I don't know if there's any other preacher in the world that is teaching about conversion the way I'm teaching about conversion. I believe in conversion. that we can convert things from the invisible realm, from the realm of fantasy, and like you are saying, into the realm of the physical world. That is where the life that I want to live in. And I most so, I believe that this is the life that God challenges all of us to live, the life that He wants us to live. He said, the just shall live by faith. And faith is something that you don't see. Is something that is in the fantasy world. So a man of faith sees something ahead of him that nobody else sees. He sees something invisible to the physical eyes. But later on, because of his faith that he has in the invisible realities that he's seeing, he has so much faith that those invisible things will become tangible. And he walks toward that goal until the invisible become visible. And that's why everybody that has ever made anything happen in the world, that's the same principle that they use. They were seeing something in the invisible realm, and they believed in the invisible reality, and because of their belief, they worked so hard until they made the invisible reality become physical, tangible, material manifestation for everybody else to see. So this is the fantasy world that I'm living in, but that world will not remain fantasy because I believe in it, and I have other people that believe in it together with me, and because we believe in it, we're going to walk towards it until we remove all the obstacles and all the hurdles, and going to bring those things that we are seeing in the spirit realm into reality. We are already proving that is not just in the fantasy world. We're already having the sketches, the pictures, the drawings. So we have it. It is the reality of what we're dreaming of is already not just in our own mind anymore. It is already in papers. It is already in calculations. It is already in projects. It is already in planning. It is already in architectural designs. So those things are already being shared by and being believed in by other people. And soon that we are going to be on the ground, and we are going to be convincing other people to believe, and we are going to find a way to make sure that what we are believing that is looking like fantasy right now, that we will work hard enough to make them reality.
Yep, we will work hard enough to make them a reality. Well, I have Dr. Sunday Adelaja with me here in the studio. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
You're welcome to today's show.
Thank you.
Yeah, last week's discussion was an interesting one, and I remember when you quoted Albert Einstein, and you said
Albert
Einstein, that imagination is everything. Forget about reality. That was for me a major take home, because I remember the question I asked you, which we just watched, that are you sure you're not selling fantasy to Nigerians and to the whole nation? And you said nope, that you're living in a fantasy world, but you're not selling fantasy. And I think what we're doing today and today's discussion is going to help in converting that fantasy that you have to reality, because today we'll be addressing a very vital issue that is not peculiar to Nigerians, but is something that even has a name tag of Africa. And every Nigerian or every African would bear me witness that this is not just something that happens once in a blue moon, but this has become more of a culture that sometimes people won't think it's an African nature. And what are we talking about today? It is the African time syndrome. I'm sure you're aware of this. Have you heard about this African time syndrome, Dr. Sunday?
I've not just heard about it, I've written a book about it.
Amazing. All right. Well, I guess there are many books that you can see on the screen. For example, this book is titled How to Become Great Through Time Conversion. And there's another book titled How Every African Nation Can Become a First World Nation. But I would like us to just jump straight into this African time. what I don't know if you've done. I don't believe you've done your research, but what do you think is the origin of this African time? Where did it come from? Where did it start? This African time, or maybe I need to explain what African time is before I ask you the origin. So for those who might not know what African time is, African time is that term used to describe the lackadaisical attitude, or what I would say, the attitude of Africans or Nigerians to time, which is expressed with being late to meetings, being late to appointments. It just describes our attitude to time and how we don't respect time. So, and it's shown with our lateness to meetings or to appointments. So that's just what African time means in summary. So, coming back to the question, where is the source, or what is the source? Where is African time coming from?
I think it's explainable. African time is coming from the fact that we are coming late to the party of the world. We are coming late to world celebration, to technology, the world's technological celebration. We used to have time, the concept of time in Africa, but the concept of time that we used to have in Africa, it used to be like, it is the same they used to have all over the world, ancient one. But for the past few thousands of years now, there is a new concept of time, because the time that we used to have used to be connected to the moons, to the seasons, but not to seconds, minutes, not to minutes and seconds. And that is the issue. So the reason why you see Africans late all the time is because they used to connect their timing to sun. They connect their timing to the sunrise, sunset. They connect the timing to, just like all other civilizations used to do too. Europeans used to be like that. The Asian civilization used to be like that. But in the last few thousands of years, the technology has changed and the demand on time has changed. And time has been reduced to seconds, minutes, hours. And in that aspect of time, that detail of time, Africans are not used to living by that. Even for the Europeans and for other civilizations, it has taken them hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years, to be able to align and come to the reality of living not by the moon and by the sun and by the sunset and sunrise anymore, but to be living by the reality of hours, seconds, and minutes. But we are just, that reality is just coming to us. It's not even every African that has a wristwatch yet. It's not even every African that has a clock yet. So they are not yet been living in the reality of the minutes and seconds. More so, the thing that really made time to be a reality, a European reality, is because of the economy. Economy and capitalistic economy has really helped Europeans to be able to value time. So it is the activities, the economic activities, and the need to maximize the production process and the competitiveness of it is what has really brought time to a prime place, and that has brought about the awareness and realization of the importance and wealth of time. But we are still in a developing economy that is backward, and that is not moving in the speed of light like the Western economy is moving. So all that backwardness is because the people you are talking about are people who are ordinary people. They are not even educated, most of them. So if you are not educated, you might not even know the concept of time that we are talking about. So it is that backwardness that is being expressed in the way we relate to time.
Wow, I've never heard it in this fashion before. Most times when I hear or when I have discussions with people about this African time, it's mostly associated with individual attitude to time. I've not heard anyone even come from the source that you talked about, the sun and using sunrise and sunset, which was once the universal way of, measuring time, and the advancements that came over the centuries and over the years, that people stopped using sunrise and sunset, and people started using hours and the second, hours, minutes, and all of that, and that this is an African thing, that Africa has not come to that stage where we relate with time on a second basis and on a minute basis, on an hour basis. And when you mentioned that many Africans don't even have wristwatch and they don't even have clocks, and I'm like, well, that's true, but I would never have connected not having a clock or not having a wristwatch with what we refer to as African time. I don't know if you had people talk about African time, what do we talk about most times? I think it's just about people are coming late to meetings, people are not responsible with their time, but they don't associate it with, this is an African problem that we need to jumpstart. We need to really catch up, or if we're not catching up, we need to get ourselves together and not be back, because we are far away from where the world is right now. I don't know if you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah, that's the general concept and general attitude and of people complaining and people condemning the situation, which is condemnable. But if you really want to resolve that problem, you must be holistic in your approach towards the solution. You have to, there are a lot of other things that must take place. It's a complex solution and complex series and complex set of problems that must be resolved. So for us to be able to really get rid of the African time syndrome or phenomenon, we've got to resolve the problem of infrastructure. We've got to resolve the problem of development. We've got to resolve the problem of civilization. We've got to resolve the problem of education. We've got to bring enlightenment to people. It is as a result of the accessibility to transport, accessibility, because for example, there are some places when you're talking about African time that it will take people 2 days or 3 days to be able to walk there. And if they don't have the watch or wristwatch or clock, they need to walk for 2 or 3 days or even a few hours by a kilometer. So there is no transportation. They have to cross the sea, ocean, no predictability. So a lot of that has to be resolved. So we've got to be able to bring civilization to the doorstep of people before we could hope that they will be able to catch up in terms of optimizing time.
Wow. So the lack of civilization or under-civilization in Africa is the reason behind this, what we call African time.
Yes, but what is sad is that our administrators and managers, our government officials don't seem to know that. And they also talk about it in the sense of condemnation, yes, and just deliberating about it, talking about it. But if they really want to resolve the problem, it has to be holistic.
Amazing. I think, well, since we rarely hear of this holistic approach to handling African time, and this would be this is the subject we're handling today, because we want to once and for all give a deadly blow to this African time issue. We want to prefer a holistic solution to the African time syndrome in Nigeria. I know you have a book that you've written to address this topic. Can we have the book, How Every African Nation Can Become a First World Nation? And our conversation right now, I've read this book, but our conversation is giving me even more understanding behind the topic or the title of this book. Because anyone who sees the title of this book would not be able to guess, or would hardly guess rightly, what the content of this book is. Only when you open it and you start reading and you're like, so this is what this man is talking about. But you know, I wouldn't like. I remember the first time I saw this book, and you asked us the question. We're together, and you said, "Can anyone guess what this book is talking about?" I remember we were saying every other thing apart from what is this about. We're talking about every other thing. We said every other thing and how every African nation can become first world nation. Okay, this, that, and then when you say, well, what this book is talking about is not all what you're saying. This book is addressing time. I mean, like, well, it's DSA, but now having the conversation and having asked you about the origin and the source of this African time thing, and you giving us a background as to this is not just people's individual attitude to time, but this is a continent issue. So now when I see this book title, How Every African Nation Can Become a First World Nation, and how the whole civilization comes into play, and what makes a first world nation a first world nation, because of the things you already listed, the civilization that is there, the infrastructure that has been built, the easy of access, the mobility, almost everybody has a wristwatch, everybody has the time. I mean, you see it everywhere. If you're going to a train station, you see the clock there, you see time there, everybody has it. But if you go to Africa, there are people people don't have all of those materials. So I'm just seeing like there's a light coming to why you would title this book, How Every African Nation Can Become a First World Nation. Dr. Sunday, I want us right now to dive straight in to, maybe before we go to your solution, I want to ask you a question. That what is the devastating effect of this African time on our nation and maybe on Africa as a whole? What has this African time syndrome cost us? What is it?
Making us to lag behind. It's making us to lack a competitive edge. It's making us to be farther and farther away from the rest of the world. It's pushing us further, and it's making our children to live in hunger and poverty, and to make them to want to leave their continents and run to a better place, and to risk their lives in Libya, in the deserts of Libya, in the Mediterranean Sea, and trying to kill, to make a better, because the life that they have left that is so slow, that is creeping. I mean, things will remain like ages back. Why the world is moving, because the world moves by time, and why the world is moving fast, everything is changing for the better. What will be happening is like we are moving backward. So you go to a city and a place where you were 10 years ago, it's like it was now 30 years back, because of the speed of the civilized world. The civilized world is moving at such a speed forward that the place that you used to be before, I used to admire, by the time you go and see it now, it's like, it's not just not there's something to admire there, but it's like it has become worse and worse because there is no speed. We are not catching up with the speed. It's like we are going backward. So that is the consequence of it.
Wow, interesting. In this book, can we have the book, How Every African Nation Can Become a First World Nation? This book, first, anyone who hasn't read this book, I'd like to encourage you to read it. It will change your whole psyche about time. In this book, you gave some calculations. I don't know if you can give us.
Yes, I even have a slide for them.
Okay.
Let's go and look at the slides, and let's look at the slides, and with some statistics of what I've written in the book, but just a little bit. But people could go to the book and read more of it. So let's see. So in this book, I was talking about how every African country could double at the GDP. But in this particular, and I used the example of Nigeria, so I'm going to start with Nigeria. So the whole essence of what I'm saying is that Nigeria could double our national budget in 45 days and double our GDP in 12 months. So let's say the national budget of Nigeria right now is 25 billion, 27 billion dollars a year. That same amount, which is the budget that will run by a whole yearly budget of Nigeria, we could generate that budget in 45 days. Every 45 days, we could generate the whole yearly budget, annual budget of Nigeria, just by fixing one problem, by fixing the time issue. But we cannot fix the time issue so fast. But I'm referring, when I talk in this book about fixing time issue, I'm talking about only the 20% of Nigeria that is active in labor. So if we only just enforce the rule of time for the educated and the elite Nigerians, for the top 20-30% of Nigeria, because we only have 40-50% that are educated. So let's even say we only get 20% of Nigerians to live and abide by the rules of time. I mean, when I talk about percentage, I'm talking about the workforce. So if we could get just the workforce to live by these, we would double the budget of Nigeria. I mean, not just double, every 45 minutes, double every 45 days, sorry. Every 45 days, we could double the budget of Nigeria. Then, every 12 months, every year, we could increase the GDP, the whole national economy of Nigeria, just because of the right attitude to time. This is what I was writing in that book. Time, just changing our attitude to time, just fixing that problem of time. The effect will be the same as fixing the problem of electricity. Now, thank God there is awareness about the need to fix the problem of electricity, and that once we fix the problem of electricity, it will affect the lifeline of the economy itself. But what they have not been talking about, and what most people don't tend to see, is that the effect and the impact of fixing time will have the same consequence and the same effect as when the economy, the electricity problem is being resolved. That those two things alone. Sorry, guys. Just that alone, that alone will be, those two things alone. If we could fix the two things alone, it will be good. It will be as good as if we are fixing the whole of the economy. We will be able to resurrect our economy through electricity and through time. So the importance that our people are supposed to be paying to time should be the same, on the same level as the one they are paying, the attention they are paying right now to electricity. So that electricity and electricity, need for electricity is already on the high. So it is the same kind of attention that the country is supposed to be paying to time and to making people live by time, like they did with electricity, like they are doing with electricity now.
Wow. Well, before you go into the statistics, I guess you want to prove this to us, because I think an average Nigerian is like, how do we double our national budget of like 250 billion naira, double our GDP?
25 billion dollars.
Sorry, $25 billion.
That's our yearly budget. Yes.
And then our GDP.
We can double that every 45 days. Yes. And then
GDP,
we can double our GDP, which is $500 billion can be doubled every 12 months.
Yeah, I think we just want to know how that will work.
Okay, please show me this slide. Keep on rolling the slide for me. So in every major meeting, let's say in every major meeting in Nigeria, everybody knows that people come late for at least 1 hour. So if every major meeting starts an hour late in Nigeria, when an hour is valued at $10, just $10, right? Yeah. But really it could be valued more than that. And we also know that people come late to major meetings in Nigeria, not just 1 hour late. Many people come 2 hours
2
late.
hours,
Some
3
people
hours.
3 hours late. I will actually think that the average number will be the objective number will be 3 hours. But let's even assume people at work also, the same thing with work, the same thing with meetings, the thing with the productive part of the economy. So let's see the next page. And if 40 million Nigerians, okay, 40 million, I was talking about 20 million, but it's 40 million. If 40 million Nigerians are late just for 1 hour a day to work or to appointments, yes, that will equal 400 million US dollars a day lost to a lack of understanding of the value of time. I assume 40 million Nigerians will be the number of able-bodied Nigerians of a working age in the minimum. Okay? If we assume people go to work late or to meetings late for like 3 hours a day instead of just 1 hour in a day, because some people even have 2 meetings, 3 meetings. So even if they are late for 1 hour each time, that is already 3 hours a day. But if they are late for 3 hours to each one of those meetings, 6 hours a day wasted, okay? If working months in Nigeria are only 10 months due to the holidays, that comes to 24 billion. 24 billion times 10, that is like for 10 months. 24 billion times 10, that's 240 billion US dollars. That is just if they're just talking about, we're just hypothetically talking about minimum amount of time that people come late. If we are going to take maximum, at least 2 times more, that will be the budget of Nigeria. I mean, it will be the whole GDP of Nigeria in a year. So we could double this. We could double Nigerian GDP just by changing our attitude to time. Next point, next page. So for your information, our GDP now is only 2 times that amount that we saw, which is our GDP 510 billion, but it's actually less now. But let's even use this amount. You see that time alone, fixing time alone, making people to work by time, can double that GDP. It's more than the money that oil gives us. We are going to have more money coming to the economy than the money we are getting from oil right now. That's why in the Western world, people are always fast, running quick, because that is part of the economy. If the Western economy begins to live right like Nigerian lives, disregarding time and just having a kind of loose attitude to time, you see them become third world countries as well.
Wow.
Once you begin to trivialize time, you begin to kill your wealth. When people say, "Oh, let's kill time," Have you heard that before?
Of course.
How can I kill time? Or you are not killing time, you are killing your money, you are killing your economy, you are killing your riches. When people say, let's waste, how can we waste time? We just want to waste. I mean, what can I do? Let's just waste some time. Let's just chill, or let's just go and have fun. You are wasting your money, your income, your revenue, your resources, your capital, your money, your income, your riches. You cannot kill time or waste time. You can only waste your life and your pocket and your money.
Amazing. Wow.
So we are wasting right now at least about 240 billion a year just because of lack of serious attitude to money. To time. And if objectively, we are wasting double the economy of Nigeria just because we are wasting time. So if the government really wants to do something about increasing the economy, making it productive, this is one thing they could put their efforts in to propagate, to legislate, to do anything possible to the rural areas.
Wow.
Even religious people, even through church. Church is alone contributes to, yes, this is the whole country in a whole. If we say we are talking about the whole country in general, they waste $240 billion. $240 billion in a year minimum. or $500 billion in a year, how much we lose due to the general statistics of people if we only take 40 million Nigerians.
Yeah.
But just by the church itself, just if we take church alone is bringing economic damage to the country to the tune of over 100 billion dollars because of unnecessary religious activities, because of unnecessary dogmatic demands on people's time. You see, the church and the religion in Nigeria put so much demand on believers that demand has become catastrophic. It's now having economic consequences on the nation. So the national economy is suffering just because of the activities of the church. This is not even talking about the offering and the unwarranted offerings and tithes and all those demands that churches are collecting from people. But even just the time the church is collecting from people, because people in Nigeria will go to work and run away from work just because they want to go to a prayer meeting within the working hour. Or some people will even leave their work earlier and run to church at the time where they're supposed to be working. Or even during the break, some people will go and be praying and doing prayer meeting during the break, and they don't come back on time to go and work. So all that, by the time you put that together, and then sometimes they call people during the midday, during the work time, the midweek, they will call people to go to the mountain, to go for some convention, to go for some meetings, and people will not be working. They will just, tell their bosses they have to go. Some of them in Nigeria will have churches every day, from morning till night. So these are work hours, and they will be working. No, they will not be working. They will be in church. So can we see the second, the second slide, please? Let's see the statistics on how the church is contributing to economic collapse of Nigeria economy. Nigeria is losing $3 billion a week. $3 billion a week. And $156 billion a year. That is 1/4 or 1/4 of Nigerians' total GDP due to unwarranted, unnecessary religious demands.
Wow.
This is just talking about the church, the Christianity. I'm not even using Muslim. If you are going to add Muslim to this, it will be minimum 200 billion. $200 billion dollars out of 500 billion that we're having as a country. Nigeria and church people, religious people are wasting. Religion is becoming deadly. Religion is costing us badly right now in Nigeria. Wow. It's good to give people freedom of religion, freedom of faith, but the way things are in Nigeria, religion is no more enhancing growth and development. Religion is no more enhancing people's prosperity. Religion is hindering it. Religion is destroying people's livelihood just because of the unnecessary demand of pastors. Pastors would demand that people come to church 3 times a week, sometimes 5 times a week. The time they're supposed to be resting or being productive. The time they're supposed to be doing personal development. The time they're supposed to be doing extracurricular growth for self-development and growth. The time they're supposed to be developing second business or apart from their work, developing some economy means to be able to sustain themselves. Every time now is in church. Just being wasted. And then they're having all kind of meetings, so it's every week. The Nigeria economy is losing $3 billion. Every week, $3 billion. $3 billion a week. Let's continue to go. Religion is terribly crippling my country's economy, guys. Religion is crippling Nigeria's economy. Let's go to concrete examples. The Redeemed Christian Church of God, they gather up to 12 million people in a single meeting. Can you imagine? And sometimes in a single, sometimes those people, that 12 million people, it's not just on Sundays they gather them. They will gather them, sometimes for a whole convention. Sometimes they will gather them for a week. Sometimes they will gather them for more than a week. Sometimes they gather them for a whole weekend. The time that people are supposed to be using for creativity, they cannot create. They cannot be creative. So the economy is losing. People are losing. People are dying. People are just being destroyed because of this. Faith Tabernacle of Winners Chapel, just their building, gathers 100,000 people sometimes. They have 50,000. I think they have 100,000. Wherever, up to 100,000, between 50 to 100,000 people. Salvation Ministry, 90,000 people. Dunamis, 75,000 people. Now I think it's 100,000 now they have. So by the time you put all this together, and some of them meet not just once a week, they have several something. Can you imagine? People just come for work. Even if it is after work, people are meeting. People came from work and they are meeting after work, millions all over the. When would they be productive? When would they be able to develop themselves? When would they be able to have creativity? So it's backwardness. Religion is taking us backward in our country. Next page. That's it. The Mountain of Fire, Miracles, the same thing. MFM. 500,000 people are being packed, on a weekend or sometime, So by the time you put all these figures together, 12,700,000 people, these are people that are, being held back from contributing to the economy when they are supposed to be at their workplace and contributing.
12 million able-bodied.
Able-bodied men and women. So this is why, we are backward. This is why we are backward, because we don't respect people's times. These pastors and religious leaders don't respect people's life or their time, talk less of their productivity or their creativity. Yeah. So since these 12 million people stay in those auditoriums praying, singing for 1 hour, sometimes more, when they should be at their workplaces working, and then the country is losing. So per hour, every hour, just if you count this number alone, every hour Nigeria is losing $127 million every hour just because of this. Anytime these churches are meeting. And then they will still take some of their money that they work for, they will still go and give to those churches. So you could multiply this number by 2. This is just what they are losing as per time. The wastage of time and the wasting of time. But if you are going to add that to the money they are even bringing again to those religious places, you could double it. Slavery. But you and I know that most Nigerian church services last more than 1 hour, sometimes up to 5 hours. Yes. Hence, if we multiply the above money by 5, we will be losing 638 million every 5 hours. Those number of people spend in church instead of at work. So every church service, every time those people meet, we are losing almost over $500 million every time those churches meet. And we just talk about 5 churches. What about talking about all the other churches in Nigeria? So, and of course, if these meetings happen 5 times a week, we will lose more than $3 billion in a week. So that's it. So $3 billion in a week is leading to 160 billion dollars a year, just because of religion. So all this, a lot of, and this is all connected to time. So there is a lot of mental orientational work that needs to be done. There is a lot of changing of mindset, a lot of enlightening work that needs to be done. Not just with people, with politicians, but even with religious people, with pastors, with Muslims, leaders, with imams and people in the mosque. But the mosque people, I don't think they go to church, mosque so often like the African, like the Christians. I think the most people really do that on Fridays and every day. I mean, I think, I don't know, I think the mosque is as bad as too, because they are praying 5 times a day, and some of them are also walking away from their workplace. So by the time you add, the mosque to this, you will see how religion is totally crippling our economy.
Wow. I mean, if people are not blown away by these figures.
All those figures are in this book.
Yeah.
Everything is in this book. Read this book. When you get to the book, your eyes will open. And this is not just in Nigeria. This is in most countries in Africa.
Africa, yes. So this is not just a Nigerian thing, of course. This is an African thing. And I mean, this gives even more understanding as to why in the West, they don't pay people monthly most times. They pay people per hour. So that's why you see people running to work, trying to catch up. I mean, they are clerking the exact hour they are coming in and the exact hour they are going out. Even if they're going to work for extra hours, they know they are okay. My hour is worth so amount of money. But we don't even have that understanding in Nigeria. I mean, if you ask an average Nigerian, what is your hour worth? They're like, sorry, what does that mean? But if you go to the West, people have that attitude to time as, hey, my hour is worth so amount of time. So that is the reason why you at least people sit down just chilling in front of their houses, talking. I was in Nigeria, Dr. Sunday, and I couldn't just help but, I mean, my heart was broken because you see people wake up early in the morning.
And just sitting down.
Ah, God. They don't have any work to do. They just wake up in the morning, brush their teeth or do whatever they want to, and they just go and sit down in front of their shop or in their house, just sitting down. And they are looking at everybody that is passing. What are they doing? Just sitting down, talking.
No value of time.
No value of time. And they are always there, seated. So sometimes you won't feel uncomfortable if you are walking that street because
they are looking at
you like this. They know,
commenting.
They know when you're going to leave your house. They know when you're coming back because they don't have any. They're just sitting down. They're just looking. So when I was in Nigeria, I was like, what's happening? I mean, get to do something. I mean, but these people are the ones that will say they don't have money. They will say they don't have job. But we don't even understand that time is wealth. Well, I don't blame them because I was also amongst that number until when I learned from you and I saw that time is not just what is time, like it's 2 o'clock. So I stopped seeing time as 2 o'clock or 5 o'clock. I started seeing time as wealth. So I agree with you that we need a whole mental reorientation in Nigeria. We need to really bring this understanding to Nigerians that time is...
So talking about fixing Nigeria, so this is one of the things we have to fix, right?
Yes, of course. And this is the first thing we're addressing. We have close to 30, if not more than 30 vices that we need to address. So everyone just sit back. Every episode starting from today, we're going to be highlighting wrong value systems. We're going to be highlighting vices that are prevalent in Nigeria. We're going to address them. We're going to talk about how devastating those vices are to our nation, to our economy, to our people, and we're going to be preferring solutions to each of those vices. So I decided that today we'll start with this African time, and then we're going to keep on talking about several other vices that I'm sure many Nigerians might not even consider as a vice because it has become our culture, it has become our in thing. All right. So Dr. Sunday, having established the devastating effects of this African time on our nation, on our economy, I think it's just right that we talk about the solution. And you already said that we can't just address this on the superficial level. We have to go holistic about it. So I would like you to talk about the holistic approach to addressing practically this African time syndrome in Nigeria.
Well, the way to address it and solve the problem for time and eternity, you could say, and solve the problem for good is, of course, to replace Nigeria. And while we are replacing Nigeria, we're also replacing the people's mindset. We're also replacing the people's value system. We are replacing the people's understanding of life. And we are bringing enlightenment, reorientation to everybody, because we are going to have that program that I showed the last time, a funnel where every citizen of Nigeria will have to pass through. And when they are passing through it, they are being taught on different values, including this one. And they are being changed in the environment, in that green environment, where they are going to be reorientated, and they are going to be channeled and be directed to live and be demanded to live by another value system. And they will be immediately feeling the consequences of not abiding by time. So that is going to be one of the values and one of the things that will be addressed before people leave those places. And then those are going to be like the laws and the rules in those communities, in those green zones. More so, there's going to be a lot of enlightenment work, propaganda, and a lot of work that is geared towards enlightening people, and they're going to be made and be taught to live by the awareness of time. So that is the ultimate solution. But before that happens, something must be done now. Yes. And that's why I wrote this book. And this book is to open the eyes of Nigerians and to also open the eyes of the leaders, so that people will know that we are losing too much, and that what we are losing is bigger than what we even thought that we are losing. What we could gain from time, but from living by time in Africa could be as much as oil. We have another oil in our hand. We could even have more than that oil if we will have more revenue than oil if we just change our attitude to time. And then the leakages could be stopped. But for that to happen, we also need to again use the same mountains upon which values are established. We need education. We need to inculcate this into the educational system. We need to inculcate it into the media and entertainment, into the culture. We need to inculcate this into the pulpit of the land. We need to inculcate it into the family. So it's a whole lot of work that must be done. And it must be used, the methods that should be used should be both propaganda and spreading of the word, educating people, and also through legislation.
Wow. So we're going to use the same templates which you spoke about in one of our previous episodes. For us to fix the situation, not replace, there are two ways we can do that. It's either we do the propagation or legislation. And having mentioned the 5 pillars through which propagation can occur, the family, education, media, the pulpit, religious bodies, and through civic associations. One of the things that really baffles me, and I would like to ask you too, is we have all of these pillars functioning right now, but why is it that it's as though almost like they don't know what to do with the platform that they have? For example, we have the media. Why can't we have a media that is just all about propagating time, and why we need to respect time and use some of this your analysis, and just what that media is just about is just time, to just make Nigerians become conscious of time.
You see, you're already talking like a leader, a visionary leader. For that to happen, you need a leader that has vision and that will be able to give vision to every aspect of Nigerian's life. What Nigerian leaders are doing right now is not visionary leadership. It is management. They are trying to just run the government. They are running the government. They are just using fire brigade approach. But what you are talking about is somebody that has in-depth knowledge of what to do and what are the things that are wrong with the country, and are prescribing some concrete direction and vision to everybody. So people who are in the media right now, everybody is just individualistic. People just want to make money. Everybody want to survive for themselves. So anything that will bring them money is what they are doing. But you are talking about nation building. It's totally a different value. It's the same thing with Nollywood. People are there to make money. Nobody is thinking about nation building. Everybody to their own. People are pulling the bed sheet to their side.
But they're complaining. That's what baffles me.
Yeah, but they don't know that they are the problem themselves. They think it is the government, somebody is responsible, Buhari is responsible, APC is responsible, but not they.
Not a problem.
That's why they are complaining, because they have not been taught about personal responsibility. They have not been taught about, they being born to make their nation great. Like the book I wrote, You Are Born to Make Your Nation Great.
Well, this talks about the whole mind shift that must occur in Nigeria. It talks about the whole reorientation that must occur. Sometimes I'm baffled that we even have a national reorientation program or sector, and I'm like, agency. I mean, what are they doing? What is the reorientation? I mean, are we just having sit down and just talking? I mean, let's get into action. Let's get people. Let's do something. Let's make this happen in Nigeria. And I just want to throw this challenge before I give the invitation to people who would like to contribute to today's discussion.
Yeah, I think you should announce so that people will know how to contribute first of all and begin to register.
All right. So if you would like to register to call into the studio, well, you can do that by going to Move Agents. That is on Facebook Messenger. Just search for Move Agents on Facebook Messenger and then write to us that you are interested in contributing to today's discussion, or you'd like to call, or just share your thoughts on today's subject. So the way to do that, if you're watching us on either it's on YouTube or you're watching us on Facebook, just have to go to Messenger on Facebook, search for Move Agents and write to us. Please don't call, just register your intent and we will call you. So, I mean, just coming back to what I was saying, I just want to throw a challenge to people, anyone who is listening. Let me just take it, starting from the educational sector. I mean, you can't go 1 meter in Nigeria, especially in Lagos where I was, without seeing the school. I mean, schools are just sprouting up. I'm talking about private schools. They're just everywhere. So, and like you rightly said, Dr. Sunday, most people are just thinking about how to make money for themselves. But what about having schools that we're not just teaching people English and maths, but these are schools that will teach people about time? I mean, if you really have a passion for education, why not have a school of time or something? Just help people understand the value of time. So I'm reaching out to everyone they're always interested in education. That's your burden, that's your passion. Let's get this book, convert this book to a curriculum, and let's begin to propagate it. Let's set up things that could transform the educational sector and inculcate this value of time to our people. Or if you're a pastor, why just talking about miracles and about God doing signs and wonders in our nation when you can have your Sunday school all about time? Teach people the value of time. Help them realize why they need to convert their time. So I'm reaching out to pastors, to imams.
Yeah, pastors, imams, civil societies, NGOs. There must be movements. There must be NGOs, civil societies that are propagating just these values every day. Media, and I mean,
because if we do it, if all of these
and that's why I wrote that book about how every African country could double their GDP, so that the awareness at least will come.
Yes.
And so that people will know that we all need to do something urgently to fix the situation.
Yeah, we really do need to do something urgently. One of the things that I'm thinking that many Nigerians might ask you is that, well, maybe this might be an environment thing, because if you go to the West, or if you're a Nigerian and you travel to the West, somehow you don't apply your Nigerian time to your workplace, because if you go to your workplace late, you get kicked out or something up. But Nigerians, if they're having Nigerian meetings, they still have the Nigerian time. So is this Nigerian or African time thing? Can it be eradicated from the mindset of Nigerians at all?
But are you not the one who said that the Nigerians who live abroad?
Yeah, but if they have Nigerian meetings, they still
Yes.
they go late.
Yeah, but that is because they know they tolerate it. It's not about being Nigerian or not. It's just because they know it is tolerated in those Nigerian meetings. And because it is tolerated there and there are no consequences, so they just relax. It's just about, human taking advantage of their weaknesses and other people's weaknesses. So, but when they know that they have a job where they're the only black there.
And there's consequences.
Yes, but they don't go late. And they are still the same Nigerians that time too.
Yeah. Well, and that really also talks about how there must be consequences also for timing or for a lack of value of time too in Nigeria. And I think that comes with the legislation, or also that comes with different companies also exercising this, that if you come late, you're going to have this consequence. If you come late, this is going to happen to you. And talking about also tolerating this African time thing, I also think it's what we all must inculcate. But the question is, would we say that the people who are taking advantages of the weaknesses that they see, or the tolerance that Nigerians have abroad, could we say that they've not inculcated being early as a value system?
Of course not. It's because they are doing it in the West because of the consequences, because they don't want to lose their job, and because they know they will lose their salary. So it's just like animals. They have not come to the awareness of it themselves. They have not embraced the values to become part and parcel of their lives. It's just because they have been put in a system, in an environment that demands that from them. So we need to do the same thing before it becomes the second nature of people. It might take 1 or 2 or 3 generations. But so in the meanwhile, we have to
put the external conditions.
Yeah, put the restraints and system of restraints there.
Yeah, because I'm happy that you're able to say that, because if we look at it in the West, and especially using Nigerians as the lab rats, you would see that it is more of an external influence that is making them respond to time that way. But it's not some inner regeneration or some inner understanding that they are living from an inner value they've developed in themselves. That, okay, I respect time. I won't go late to appointments, and even if I'm going to a Nigerian appointment and I know Nigerians will be late, I'll still go there early. So that, as at that point, it has become a value system that they live by, and I think that should be the ultimate that we are heading to. And like you said, it might take maybe 3 generations for us to get there. But I think a good place where we can start is to propagate, like you said. We must get people talking about it everywhere. It must become the center of discussion, not just discussion, but even helping people to understand why time is needed and all of those things, and also putting restraints, making people face penalties for not being respectful to time, but not valuing time and all of that. So amazing. I don't know if you have any addition, Dr. Sunday, before we have the callers.
Well, I will encourage people to go and read not just that book, Every African Country Can Double Their GDP, but the economy, but also to read this other book here. This other book.
By my side here.
Yeah, your own side. How to become great through time conversion. And what to do with your time. There's another book that says what to do with your time.
Yes.
So those books will help people. So let them work on themselves, and maybe they will be able to help their own children. And change should start with each one of us in our own homes and families.
Yeah, I think that's a good place for it to start, in our homes and in our families, for us to respect time. All right, so I think the time has come for us to receive our callers from all over the world. But I think we have a caller already. Good evening, caller. Good evening, sir.
That sounds like Israel Good News Balogo.
Good to hear from you today, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Please speak.
The whole university is organizing conference, and they will have planned African time to it. As in, when you are planning your program, you must put as in African time is something you must plan along. Not that it will creep in, you must plan it. So you will have decided that okay, this program really is going to start by 11, but let's call it 9. So people will want to give us like 1 hour, 2 hours. By 11, we'll start. How many hours do you think Lagosians are wasting in traffic? Average Lagosians per day waste 3 hours. That's the minimum.
Counting 1 hour.
Hello?
Yeah.
And we were counting 1 hour.
We are counting 1 hour. 1 hour. In Lagos, average Lagosians, either you are going to work or you are not going to work. As far as Lagos is concerned, when you wake up every day, either you want to go and buy something on the other place or wherever you are going, you have 3 hours of your day wasted. And if Lagosians are taking time to convert that 3 hours to something, either adding value to themselves or writing books or doing something, Lagosians might have a lot of products, but for the sake of the fact that they cannot avoid that traffic. 3 hours of every day is wasted in traffic, and people cannot. That's the minimum. I'm telling you, some waste 5 hours on a daily basis, some waste 6 hours going to work and coming back. So if you put all these hours that we waste in Nigeria, let's even remove African time. The environment, the circumstances in which we operate is a time waster. Excuse me, sir, when you get to civil servant office and the opening time is 8 o'clock, when they arrive at work by 9 a.m., they will still have morning devotion. So when I was to go for a clearance somewhere, when we got there, we are meant to do that clearance. We are waiting for them. We have arrived 7:30. They didn't come until 9. So when they started, they will now call all of us to come and pray along with them. I went to stay somewhere. So one of them came and said, "Are you not a Christian?" I said, "I'm." He said, "Are you a Muslim?" I said, "I'm not a Muslim." He said, "What is your religion?" I said, "I don't have any." So he was wondering that, you can't join us in prayer because you are praying. To me, I was angry. I said, look at these people that came work late, and when they come, they are still committing the day to the hand of God. They not only have prayer, they started with Thanksgiving, praise and worship song, and they have the whole full service. That has become like our culture. And to do with this, it's like a whole project on its own. Yes, we have been able to change some of these things by giving the book how to come grateful time. What are you doing with your time? We gave it to some set of children that read it. Excuse me, sir, today. Those children, when you send them somewhere, they will tell you What can I do? Why I'm going to buy this thing? They will be speaking as if at time must not be listening. Just reading those books alone. Thank you very much, sir.
Beautiful, beautiful, excellent.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, Pastor, for real though, people need to be exposed to this knowledge, because I think I became conscious of time maybe just 3 years ago, and that was like my first exposure. Because normally I could just be walking on the street, just be looking everywhere. And I don't know that my time is going. I'm just walking, or maybe I'm inside a bus and they're just looking at everybody's face. Which house is here? I didn't even know that I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting my life. I didn't even know about it. But when I began to understand, and I remember one of your quotes that really taught me that the freest of all men is the one who can fight for every second of his time. We have not gotten to every second right now, but at least I'm trying to fight for it. Even if it's an hour fight or it's a minute fight now, but no, at least I'm trying to fight. So I'm going in the bus, I'm listening to a message. I'm walking on the street, I'm listening to something. At least I'm trying to convert my time to. So, but what do you think about people that don't even have any idea of this? Come on. They'll just waste all their time. So we need this reorientation big time. We have a caller already. All right. Good evening, caller. Hello. All right. I think we lost that caller. So look at this book, everyone. What do you do with your time? It will blow your mind when you read all these books. I actually dedicated a whole solitude to work on just time. And I read all of the books on this book about time. What do you do with your time? Time is life. How to be great through time conversion, and the book on now African nation, everything. So you want to get all of these books on time. We have a caller already. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, sir. God bless you, sir.
Please, it's either you're far from your microphone or your device. So please, can you speak louder so we can hear you?
Are you hearing me now?
A little bit better.
Now?
Yes.
Yes, now it's good.
It's better now, okay. Good evening, God bless you, sir. I am really touched with this, your program, and I think I have the same dream, because most of the time, we put blame on another person. I think that is the Ray Africa yesterday nature. The time that we waste for everything that we do, because I put the blame on my mother because he didn't born me like they born DSA. I didn't go to school like DSA go. I skip and blah blah blah. And at the time of blaming another person, I discovered that I omitted my own blame.
Yeah.
The church, the religious cycle really is not. It would have been great, wonderfully great, if they use 3 hours every day for their service and so, and the thing is bringing back an impact.
Yes.
The whole time that we spend, the whole money, I don't want to talk about the money that we spend for these religious or these churches something, because it's the church that is really pronounced now. If it was giving back at least 1% back, I mean the moral value, so to say. If we have the moral value back, I wouldn't have, joined this crusade. For instance, we talk about corruption in our political economy. Churches, big names. I may not be able to mention 2, 3 names of churches today. But believe me, DSA, that their members are involved in auditing accounts.
Wow.
Of federal ministries and parastatals. There have not been one born-again Christian that say, no, I will not compromise.
Wow.
I will not defile myself with the clean portions of meat. To say, I saw this man with this money and he did not account for it, I stand by it. You have to bring it. Since all these years, since 1999, that we say, because the military we say we are afraid of their gun and bullets. But this toothless bulldog, are eating all the money. Nobody. No, I'm not talking of our friends and all the rest. I'm not talking of the magicians. I'm talking of the claimed born again Christians.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk too much because if NEPA, I have a senior staff of NEPA, and she's a pastor. She's earning over 2 million naira a month as salary. I'm not talking of the other ones. She told me clearly that for Nigeria to get light, it will be very difficult. Because every Friday, the Muslim will pray that government will not take this thing from them. Christians do their own. The ones that go for Babalawo, they do their own. Just against light power supply in Nigeria. These are Christians. Where are they? We go to mountain, we go to valley, we go to river, we go to this, we go to this. Until we really are able to apply. Especially, I'm also blaming some of us that are in Europe. Go back home to deliver a little bit of what we also saw, or what we experienced. We all put all the blame on Buhari. It's only Buhari because he's a Muslim, because he's old, because he's this, that's why Nigeria is this, that's why Nigeria is this, that's why Nigeria is. Nobody is saying, because the parliament here, in everywhere in Europe, they are the ones who plan on how to revive the economy. It's not only the head of state. Queen Elizabeth is in her palace. It's not the one deciding how the economy of the British government will move. They only give it a paper to read, and that is all. So if we are able, like what you have said, the time, what we are really wasting, we didn't even go to tax yet. We are asking for foreign investors to come and cheat us, to come and exploit us. They are not paying tax. How much are they paying? We are asking for VAT of 7.2% or whatever they call them. We are paying 40 here. If IVA is about 18%, some are paying 21, some are paying 20. And we are asking for 7.2 and they refuse. And then they want miracle to happen. Miracle will happen. It will happen. This time that we are saying now, that we are discussing, is one of the major points. Going back to Nigeria, until we are able to change the mindset of almost every one of us, we are not going anywhere.
Yes.
The mindset, what we believe in, what we are doing that is not yielding results, cheating. Opportunity come but once. It's not but once. It come many times. It's not only once that opportunity comes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. God bless you. I just thank you for this, your program. Continue. Even if this is the only message you are preaching, I think it's enough for you. It's enough for your children to inherit as a good thing that you are. As a good legacy.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
God bless you, sir. It's well with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fixing Nigeria.
Fixing Nigeria.
That's what it's about.
He said, even if it's the only thing we are going to do for history, our children, is enough for them to inherit. At least they will have answers and solutions on how to fix Nigeria.
Yeah, because people don't talk about all these things. I mean, when they talk about it, it's just for just talk. Every other person
prefer solutions.
They don't prefer solutions. So they are just talking about the problem, or like he rightly said, they are blaming every other person but themselves.
Yeah.
It's either they are blaming, like well, you were spot on, either he's blaming his parents, or he's blaming that he didn't go to the same school like DSA.
Or the mama never born up like DSA.
Or the woman, just every other person to receive the blame. So just playing the blame game, but no personal responsibility, like you said. It would be great if you have that book. Can we have the book, You're Born to Make Your Nation Great? That would be a very good book. I think they said that's the last caller for today. But let's have that book. I think that would be a very good book to end today's show. That you are born to make your nation great. I think we need a whole team of people listening that would just champion this cause. You know, as we just talked about championing the course of time, we need a whole group of people who will champion the cause of making Nigerians realize that we have to be responsible. You know, that book, you see it right now. You are born. I mean, we just have to make every Nigerian know that, hey, come, what's your name? Your name is what? Maybe your name is Anu. Anu, listen, you are born to make Nigeria great, all right? Give the person the book, help the person understand the mindset of personal responsibility and then go to the next person. You are born to make Nigeria great. You are born to make Nigeria great, until every Nigerian would not just know it in their head, but it will become their understanding, to become their lifestyle. Everything they are doing, their thinking is, hey, how can I make Nigeria great? How can I make Nigeria great? Because that's the only way we can build our nation. I mean, a lot of people quote it, and it's a very nice quote by one of the presidents of Nigeria, of the US, who said, "Do not ask what your nation can give to you, but what you can give to your nation." But many people just quote it, just like the quote. It's very nice, but it has not become a value system. And that's what we're talking about in Fixing Nigeria. That's why I love this program. That this program is about addressing values. And also, I said it in previous previous episodes. That, hey, listen, if you want to see a great nation, it is not their wealth that makes them great. It is the wealth of their virtues. And he says in this quote, he says, nations are not great by the virtues of their wealth, but they are great by the wealth of their virtues. And that's exactly what this program is about. But before we end today's program, I'm aware that we have one more caller that wants to share his or our contribution. So let's receive that caller. Hello, caller. Good evening.
Yeah, well, sorry. Good evening to you. Good morning to me. This is Adobe from California.
Wow, Adobe, good to receive from you.
Yes.
Yes, this is a pretty interesting conversation or topic, because having come from Nigeria to here, I can tell you how clear the difference is in terms of African time. See, if you are going to get to your destination, especially here in California, it's either you're driving or you're taking the public transportation. If you are going to take the public transportation, my mother's warning is, make sure you leave an hour before your bus time. Not even an hour before your appointment time. If your bus comes at 7, make sure you're planning to leave at 6:30, because if you miss that bus, the next one is coming probably 30 minutes later, and that starts to count against you. And the thing is, buses here stop at every stop, so it's not, unless you take the express ones, which you have to go out into downtown to get. Now, coming to appointments, when you now get for PSA, nobody is going to cover you up. As you're coming, your supervisor is clocking you in. So there's, if you want to get full payment, make sure you are there from the time you're supposed to resume to the time you get out. If you get out before that time, you lose your pay. And at the end of the day, your bills are looking at you. You know your house rent, you know your utility bills, you know.
Give yourself sense.
Restraints.
The hours that can give you the amount of pay that will help you pay your bills, you better hustle for something else. That's why people have 2, 3, 4 jobs. Because at the end of the hours make up the money that you use in paying bills. So if you only get a job that pays you for 5 hours and your bills require almost 30, 40 hours before you can pay them, you better start getting there. And those people don't joke with their time. When Americans say time, everything is in a system. When workers arrive, when the entire place is ready, this is for events, not even work now. When workers arrive, there's a time for training, when the event should be open, when people should be exited, because the building will shut down. They will call the police and say, you people you are disturbing the neighborhood. So you have to shut your party down at the time it is required. So everything works according to time. Okay, dear, transportation. The Nigerians spend hours and hours. Here, California doesn't have the best of transportation systems. Do you know what the government did? They gave it an express lane, and there's also what they call carpool lane. Carpool is for those who have more than one person in the car. So they're trying to encourage you. Don't just travel alone. Travel with other people who will give you a lane all to yourself. But it must be you and another person, you and children, you and a baby. You and a dog is not people, because a dog is not people. So you can't enter that lane if it's just you and a dog. So our people everybody in Lagos has a car, DSA. How do we want to know? Where is 1 + 1 is 2? If there are 5 million Lagosians and all 5 million are in a car, DSA will all stay 1 hour in traffic. It's not rocket science. So people should start looking at how they can take public transportations and plan their trips. All of us want to share our car, all of us. Time is so crucial. And of time and money, how people pay bills here. Our people like Dr. Anu say, they live month to month, so I can afford to waste my employer's time. I can afford to come 1 hour later. If it's an efficient HR, they will take it up. If the HR himself comes late, it'll hold everybody in the same pot of soup. The problem with our people, when you were even talking about African time, DSA, I want to even permit me to differ in opinion. Have you seen a Nigerian WAEC exam center? Do you know how early those children come? I have been one, I have come early for exam. If you're going for interview, DSA, what betide you that you come late? By the time they put that as a mark against you, that you are even coming late for an interview, DSA, Nigerians can come early. They just need incentive.
Yeah.
We need to incentivize the Nigerian nation. Otherwise, even here in America, people come early.
Incentives and penalties as well.
Absolutely. And then the issue of them praying, it's so laughable. It's so laughable. Yet our God is a God of order. He's not a God of confusion. That cleanliness is next to godliness. I don't understand. Do we say these things and just it goes out the other way? A lot of people will say you're supposed to give God your all. Yet the only time God ever demanded anything from us, 10% was what God asked for. Do you think God is a fool for not asking you more than 10%? And why do you think God would demand more than 10% of any other thing in your life? If you are giving freely of God, give to him, but you cannot say you are giving God your time, but you are making a mess of the thing he has given you to manage. Your life, the life of people around you, your environment, your society. You are making no impact, but you said you are giving God your time. Stop deceiving yourself. Let's not deceive ourselves. You call God, God, I knew you. Say, I never knew you. The things that were important to me, you did not do. Why will you spend? I was brought up a Catholic, and my family, you can't see anyone in my family going for bath. To do what? Spend 6 hours just parading up and down church because you are not buying anything. You are not buying fridge. You are not buying dishwasher. Just parading. You see youths doing nothing, parading 6-hour bazaar, and the church is happy. Why? We need to change we need to see what is important. Europeans are where they are, not because they don't value God, but because they understand what it takes to build a nation. Not excuses. Let's stop using God as excuse in Nigeria. We have failed on so many levels. DSA, when I was at home, when I was on leave, I would see kids. In fact, not even when I was on leave. I used to leave for work like 7. If I leave at 7, I know I might be late. Before 7, DSA, there are school buses that come. What I used to know is school buses come, kids are outside the gates waiting. Nowadays, parents will spend 30, 15 minutes keeping a school bus waiting for their ward. What do you think that child will grow up into? Believing that their time they can do what? Back then, my mother will not allow you to, if you like, let soap be on your head. She knows the time she's going to drop you up to meet the school bus, and you better be ready. However you are ready is how you are going to school. No, when we were in high school, the same thing. She would kick you out of the house when she knows that it will take you 25 minutes to get to school, and it is 7:30, get out of my house.
Yes.
However you are ready, that's your problem. If you like, carry your food and be running and be going. That is your problem. So we parents are also to blame. Churches are to blame. Individuals too are to blame. Thank you so much. Let me not take up so much of it.
Brilliant.
Great contribution every time she calls in. Great. All right. So, well, I think that's the final call. We'll still have more. Okay, that's the final call. Thank you all for being with us on this episode on Fixing Nigeria. Like I announced earlier, every episode we're going to be highlighting, from this one till the next week, and then to the next, we're going to be highlighting some wrong value systems, some vices that are prevalent in Nigeria. We're going to bring them to the table. We're going to analyze them, get to the source, then proffer solutions to them. I want to believe that you will not just be watching this program alone, but you're going to share this program to your friends who are Nigerians or are Africans, so that they can learn the value systems that we're talking about here, and how they can inculcate it, how they can propagate it, and if they are in positions where they could be useful in legislating these values, then it would be great if they can do that. Well, I'm your host in this program, Fixing Nigeria. My name is Anu Ujo, and Dr. Sunday would give us his final words and round up to this program. To you, sir.
Well, everybody needs to do their best. We are trying to do our best, even though we are not living in Nigeria or in Africa, but we are trying to contribute as much as we can. But so if you live there, the more so you should also try your best to try to contribute to how to resolve the problems and the vices facing our nation, including this one. So we'll see you next week. Peace.